Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Doug Tillett. I'm Vice President here at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. This room is jam-packed with old friends, and I'm happy to see you all. So I say good morning, and you say, good morning. Oh, come on. I say good morning, and you say, good morning. Very good, thank you. I needed that. Well, I'm delighted to be here today to welcome you to the 11th Annual Financial Literacy Summit sponsored by Visa and the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. The 2017 program will focus on bridging gaps and overcoming barriers to universal financial education. This summit also will explore global challenges, including the gender gap and harnessing innovation in technology. For the last 10 years, the summit has been an important part of Money Smart Week, which is the Chicago Fed's premier program in financial literacy. During Money Smart Week, the Fed brings together a variety of different organizations, including government agencies, financial institutions, community groups, and individuals for a week of concentrated programming throughout Chicago and the country. At the Fed, we believe that the nation's economic progress is linked to the financial well-being of individuals. And so we've chosen to advocate for access to more and better financial education for all Americans. Our friends at Visa have joined with us in this public-private partnership to address the challenge here in the United States and throughout the world. There's a perception that financial illiteracy is a problem confined to the poor, the young, or those who lack a formal education. Nothing could be further from the truth. The need for financial education reaches across the board, from blue-collar workers to highly paid professionals, and certainly to retirees living on fixed incomes. Regrettably, our society and most around the world do not provide the formal education that would be necessary for them to adequately manage their personal finances. And as the world has become more complex, it has become exponentially harder to manage that complexity. Knowing how to use a credit card wisely, shop for a mortgage, choose from a menu of employee benefits, or even save for the future have never been more important or complicated than they are today. And yet too many people lack either the information or the incentive to know and understand how to make good decisions about personal finance. So our summit today will address some of those issues. We'll discuss the growing need to provide access to information and education and the actions we can take as policymakers and leaders to promote effective and meaningful change. To be sure, 10 years of summit programming has shown that progress has been made, but so much more remains to be done. I suspect that those of you in the room today and those watching around the world are most likely engaged in some effort to improve financial education in your community. Please understand how much we appreciate your passion, and please know that your hard work does indeed have a lasting impact. Let me conclude with a heartfelt thank you to our friends and partners at Visa for their commitment to improving financial literacy. If we've learned anything in 10 years, it's that providing access to more and better financial education has no downside. It's an endeavor that appeals to everyone, benefits everyone, and enriches the lives and sets both individuals and families on a path to greater financial security. To help get today's discussions going is Visa's Global Head of Financial Education, Mr. Nat Sillen. In this role, Nat oversees Visa's commitment to financial literacy, developing and guiding strategy for practical money skills, Visa's global award-winning flagship financial education programming. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Nat Sillen. Nat?
Thank you, Doug, for that very kind introduction. On behalf of Visa, I would like to welcome everyone in attendance and everyone watching online to the 11th Annual Financial Literacy Summit, co-hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago and Visa. Each year, this summit grows in size, scope, serving to facilitate a critical public-private dialogue on financial education. Visa is extremely fortunate to have an active and committed partner in this endeavor. So, I'd like to give a heartfelt thanks to the staff here at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago for their work. At Visa, we believe strongly that the best way to ensure that everyone has access to basic, quality financial education programs is through public-private partnerships as well as participation at every level: government, financial industry, corporations, education, community, and nonprofit groups. We have set what we hope you will find is a relevant, timely, robust agenda for the day. I'm excited to get today's important dialogue started. Before introducing our featured speaker this morning, I want to let all of our in-person and online attendees know that because we would like you to participate in today's summit as an engaging two-way dialogue, we invite you to tweet your questions using the hashtag FinLitSummit. Moderators will pose some of these questions to panelists throughout the day. I would now like to introduce today's featured speaker, someone who I'm truly honored to have with us, Doug Layton. As the head of community accounts for Visa, Doug and his team are responsible for the company's relationship with thousands of US-based community financial institutions, including banks and credit unions. In this role, he oversees a wide range of initiatives designed to provide the very best of Visa's products, services, and resources to these institutions, who all play a central role in the communities they serve. On a personal note, I'd like to acknowledge Doug's deep commitment to and genuine passion for financial literacy. Doug is more than a colleague and friend. He is one of the most steadfast evangelists for the importance of financial education within Visa. For Doug, providing people with a solid financial education is deeply connected with his work and with community-based financial institutions. He is a true partner to me and works tirelessly to enable the financial institutions that his team serves to harness practical money skills, Visa's program, and ensure that their customers, millions of people from all walks of life and all financial backgrounds, are equipped to use financial products responsibly. Prior to joining Visa 19 years ago, Doug held a number of product management, finance, and customer service positions at Merrill Lynch, Barclays Global Investors, and Wells Fargo. Doug holds a bachelor's in finance and an MBA from the Haas School of Business at the University of California, Berkeley. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to my friend and colleague, Doug Layton.
Well, thank you, Nat, for that very, very kind introduction. And good morning to everybody here and also folks watching us online today. It is a great honor to be here at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago representing Visa. I'd like to start by welcoming the more than 400 financial literacy leaders who have joined us here today in beautiful downtown Chicago. I also want to thank the more than 2,000 people from more than 50 countries who are participating live online. It's exciting to see so much interest in this important topic. And as everybody knows here, financial literacy is a global imperative and a common cause shared by the public and private sector. Providing everyone, young and old, with the education they need to manage their finances responsibly is vital to healthy and robust economies. It also requires a coordinated effort between the public and the private sector. Nowhere is that collaboration embodied better than here today. For 11 years, the summit has been a model public-private partnership between the Federal Reserve of Chicago and Visa. Today's agenda, just as in prior years, is impressive and relevant. Throughout the day, you'll be hearing from an outstanding roster of thought leaders on the theme, Overcoming Barriers to Universal Financial Education, a great description of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. A survey conducted by Standard & Poor's a few years ago found that worldwide only 1 in 3 adults are financially literate. Given these numbers, it's hardly surprising that governments not only recognize the importance of financial literacy, but they also are promoting and supporting it in schools, colleges, and other institutions. Beyond the policy papers and academic research, financial education is a grassroots effort. It's an issue fought tirelessly day in and day out by hundreds of thousands of educators and dedicated volunteers around the world. It's a challenge faced by frontline employees at thousands of financial institutions in hundreds of countries. They work with their students, their customers, and members to help them better understand the complexities of personal finance. And our job is to give these hardworking men and women the tools they need to be successful. It is appropriate then that our first panel is focused on the challenges of delivering consistent yet locally relevant financial education across the world. Visa was founded on the principle that everyone everywhere should have access to safe, reliable, and convenient payment options. It's a vision that motivates each and every one of the 14,000 employees at Visa. Importantly, it's a vision that, with advances in digital and mobile technology, is now within reach. But to get there, we have a lot of hard work ahead. It's an unfortunate reality that a persistent gender gap exists when it comes to access to formal financial services. A pillar of Visa's financial inclusion program is dedicated to closing that gap. We are sponsoring programs around the world, including here in the United States, that are focused on extending secure financial services to women. It's hardly surprising to note that a similar gap exists in financial education. I'm delighted that we have thought leaders on the subject talking about the steps we can and should take to close the gender gap in financial education. For over 20 years, Visa has understood that our responsibility and the responsibility of our financial institution clients doesn't end when an account is opened. These very same people need to know how to use these products wisely and have the skills and confidence to manage all their money soundly. It's why we're here today, and it's why we'll be here next year and the years after that. It's stating the obvious to say we live in an increasingly connected world. For those of you that have school-age kids, you'll understand the challenge of staying current with a generation raised on Snapchat and Instagram and YouTube, as my young colleagues here will attest. We want the younger generation to grow up. If we want the younger generation to grow up financially literate, it will require us to be digitally literate. That's why I'm excited that we have some of the brightest minds with us today discussing how to harness technology and advance education and improve financial literacy. I'd like to end on a personal note. As Nat said, I've been with Visa for 19 years, and many of my proudest days at this company have been associated with financial literacy. In many ways, my work is inextricably linked to the subject. My clients are the more than 7,000 community-based banks and credit unions here in the United States. And to put that in perspective, that's about 90% of all of Visa clients across the globe. These institutions are deeply embedded in the communities that they serve. They often know their customers by their first name. I think back to an event in Anchorage, Alaska, with Nat and Alaska USA Federal Credit Union, where we brought our financial football program to a group of high school-age kids. And seeing the positive impact firsthand, looking at these young people's faces, was truly amazing. So alongside deep engagements with local players like Royal CU, BCU, Alliant, Guarantee Bank, working with national players such as the National Credit Union Foundation, it has been my honor to work closely with each and every one of these important financial service providers and national institutions. They're woven into the fabric of American life and are deeply invested in the long-term success of their customers and members. In that sense, they see financial education as part of their mandate and their mission. To that end, Nat and his team offer invaluable financial literacy support from co-branded websites, online games, printed curriculum, and events to these institutions. It's how our program was built, it's how it's operated, and we've been doing it for more than 20 years. I encourage you all to visit practicalmoneyskills.com. That Practical Money Skills is one word, practicalmoneyskills.com, to see this work firsthand. These efforts, grassroots, practical, and useful, are exactly the helping hands that our clients appreciate as they're working with their customers.